Hi, my name is Suze, and I work with women to help them find balance between their own inner masculine and feminine energies so that they can have lives that feel really emotionally fulfilling, full of love and connection. So, today I want to talk about angry women. Angry women. I love talking about anger because I have learned in my experience that I think it is one of the most misunderstood emotions and shamed emotions that we could ever experience. And women in anger is such a huge thing. Like you see angry women everywhere, right? And as a woman, you probably have experienced anger many times in your life. And so it's a conversation I love to have because so many people are so quick to judge and shame someone as soon as they show anger. And most people are not peeling back the layers to see how much complexity is actually happening when a woman is showing up in an angry state of being. And so I love working with women around anger. And usually in the sessions I have, the healing sessions I have with women, getting into anger is something that isn't just a quick, like, once and done conversation. It's like an unraveling. And so in this video, I always do just little, like, bite-sized little videos just to get to people to think and to shift some mindsets. So I'm not going to get into all the layers of it. But I do want to start to scratch the surface to really put out there some energy out there to shift our perspective on anger so that maybe we can work with it within ourselves in a different way. And then when we see someone else in a state of anger, maybe we can respond to them in a more conducive manner instead of just judging and shaming, which is not helping anyone. The minute any one of us feels shame, we just go further down that path of anger or shutting down or whatever it may be, but it's not a full expression. It is someone who's really trapped in a hell. So anyway, without further going all there, and I have my notes today to try to keep myself on track because talking about anger, like I said, is something I can just go and go and go about. So I have my notes to keep myself on track today. Anger in women. What is actually happening when a woman is angry? What is happening? Okay, to like really oversimplify it and to just give us a baseline, a woman who is angry is simply feeling unloved. Now, the concept of love obviously is a very complex conversation. So let's peel that a little bit with the idea of anger. If a woman is angry, she is feeling unloved. That can go in many directions. The first one is overwhelm. And this comes back to feminine energy. Anger in feminine energy is different than anger in masculine energy. And that right there is a huge disconnect between men and women. Because men see an angry woman and they don't understand why she's angry. Because they get angry in a different situation or different emotions and energies. And so that right there is a lot of the problem between men and women, masculine and feminines, when we're talking about an angry woman because the men are like, what is going on? So really simply, feminine anger, feminine energy is about overwhelm. If you're going too far in the feminine energy and you're losing your own personal sense of balance between your masculine and feminine, you're in the overwhelm, you've gone too far into the feminine and you need to kind of come back into the middle. I talked in one of my other videos about one of my favorite books, The Untethered Soul, and it talks about human nature, how we tend to swing this pendulum from one extreme to the other to avoid pain and suffering. And the true path of contentment and peace is to find that middle ground, that balance. And for every woman, it's different. Your balance of your masculine and feminine is different, and you have to find that energetically. And that's a huge part of the work that I do in my sessions, is finding your own balance between the two. But in this conversation, if you notice you're in a state of overwhelm, you have received too much. I don't know if you guys can hear that background noise. I have the landscape guys here and they're kind of doing spring cleanup, so I hope it doesn't get too loud here. But if you're in overwhelm, You're too far in the feminine because the feminine is all about receiving. You have taken on too much energy, and in this case, too much emotional energy. You have received too much, and there's too much chaotic, crazy emotional energy building up and building up and building up, and then you blow. Sound familiar? Yeah, that's one scenario of anger, one scenario. The other thing to keep in mind is if we go back to the point number one, feeling angry is a woman who is feeling unloved. Let's peel that back in a slightly different direction. If you're feeling unloved, you're probably feeling not important enough, unimportant. You're feeling like something else is more important than you, right? So then you're kind of now feeling invisible. Like, why doesn't this person or this situation, why doesn't it see what's happening here? Which is unmet needs, right? And also in that state of unloved, maybe it's coming from a place where maybe you're giving and you're giving and you're investing in yourself and you're trying to make something happen and you're emotionally investing into something. You're emotionally investing into something and you've gotten to a point of completely depleted and you need something to come back to you. You need something to come back in. You are worn out and you're like, why is no one seeing what I'm doing here? Why is this situation not changing when I'm putting so much attention, energy, and love into it to create something different? Invisible, unimportant because you're not getting back, unimportant, depleted, overgiving, anger. So if we take all those things, and I know I'm rushing through this really quickly because there's, like I said, there's so much here, and I just want to kind of drop some of this out there in the world to get people thinking. But if there's all this happening when a woman is showing up in an angry state, if you peel all of that back even deeper, what's actually happening? If a woman is feeling unloved or she's feeling overwhelmed because she overgave or she over-received, she's either depleted or otherwise, it's your core emotional needs are not being met. She's not having the emotional support that she needs and she's feeling alone. She's either taken on too much and can't process it correctly and isn't having support in dealing with all this stuff that's happening inside, or she's completely emptied herself trying to make something happen that's just simply not happening, and she's not getting back what she feels she deserved for investing so much time, energy, and love into a situation. It's all the same as far as not having the emotional support on either end of what she actually needs. So if you're not having the emotional support that you need, now we're going into the area of grief. Grief. Do you see the connection there? Because it's like if you're not having the support you need and there's this little voice inside of you that's saying, see me, love me, give me, help me, I'm in this place, hello, help me, all this stuff is going on, nothing's working. It's grief because your needs are not getting met. You're grieving because you thought you invested yourself in a situation that is not panning out the way that you thought it would with all of this effort that you're putting into it, with all this energy that you're putting into it. You're grieving the loss of all this energy that you poured into something that's not giving back to you what you thought you would get with this investment. It's grief. It's grief when you take on so much stuff and you have all this stuff going on inside of you and nowhere to put it. It's a loss of a former state of being where you didn't feel these things. And you want to go back to this place where you weren't so completely drowning, overwhelmed in all of this energy and emotions and confusion and overwhelm. You're grieving a loss of a state of being previously before you were overwhelmed. So if we can start to see anger in women as, number one, feeling unloved, and number two, a deep grieving process, a grief of either a former state of being or a grief in not having the emotional support and not being seen in this current scenario where I'm trying so hard. I'm investing into this thing, trying to make this better, and it's just not working. If we start seeing anger in those terms, I think it might shift things for a lot of us. Because anger can look very unattractive to the superficial vision. It looks very unattractive and like, oh, what's her problem? Oh, I'm going to go over here. But can we have a little compassion? Can we hold some space to see the pain? It's grief. Grief is serious. And it's not something that we should be just like, what's your problem about? It's grief. And everyone experiences it. So I'm going to leave this video here today. I hope this really helps some people to maybe see the subject of anger in a very different way so that we can be more compassionate with each other. I really feel like the wave of the future is learning how to be emotionally with each other, showing up with each other emotionally in a very different way than we've ever done it before. And that is real true wealth. When we can relate and connect with other people in a very deeply intimate space, everything starts shifting and everyone starts getting the emotional fulfillment that they need. And everyone starts feeling loved and the shame goes away. Because the longer and longer we stay in a shame paradigm, the longer and longer we're going to just stay these smaller versions of ourselves that aren't really who we are when we're meant to be so much more bigger and open. So thank you so much, you guys, for anyone who stopped by and listened to me today. I hope you have a beautiful day. Check out some of my other videos below, and in the description box, you can also find more information about me and my services and a link to my website. Have a beautiful day.